Howdy Neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we are starting day one of 31 days of horror for the entire month of October. And I know it's just a little after midnight, and well, I'm not gonna lie to you, I totally thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. Try that again. Anywho, I know it's a little late after midnight and all, making it technically day two, but as I haven't been to sleep yet, I got off of work really late, got home, set up the camera, got my new dig set up over here, and we're going to get this bad boy started now. So, this month, our third year of 31 Days of Horror, I've decided to add a theme. And the theme this year is going to be controversial and divisive horror movies. And when I say divisive, I mean like we're fixing to talk about the Munsters. Rob Zombie's got two movies on our list this week. He's going to get the Munsters for day one. Now, it's not a horror movie, it's a comedy, but it was horrific. So it definitely made the cut. I'm also going to be putting up his Halloween 2 later on because I'm not going to lie to you. His first Halloween movie, both the theatrical and director's cut, are masterpieces. They are, without a doubt, the best Halloween movies in the franchise. Fight me down in the comments and we'll talk about it later. But now we're going to talk about the Munsters because, like I said, it's not a comedy or not a horror, but it was horrific. Now, I've got a lot to say on the subject of Rob Zombie putting his wife in every single movie that he does. Now, while there's not a problem with that, love your wife, dude, show some respect and, put your lady on display. That's what you want to do it. I consent, I condone it. However, there are less subtle ways of putting your wife in all of your movies. Take Adam Sandler and Kevin Smith, for example. Both of them have put their girlfriends slash wives in every single movie they have made since they met them. Kevin Smith put his then girlfriend, now wife of over 20 years, in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. She was one of the three jewel thieves. I forget if she was Missy, Sissy, or Chrissy. It's been a while. And Adam Sandler, his girlfriend, now wife, was in Big Daddy as the waitress who was bringing chocolate milk to Frankenstein slash Julius. So they're always there. They're just not the stars of the story. He understands that there are other actresses that he could put on. And I know it's your movie and you want to do what you want, but be warned. We all loved Tim Burton and Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter making their movies together. And we're all tired of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter making movies together. And now that doesn't really happen anymore. Not that that's a bad thing, but the three of them really need to take some time apart. We're getting a Wednesday series coming up later on next month, and we're going to talk about that because it's going to be awesome. So, the Munsters. You know what? Let's talk about the good things before we talk about the bad things. First things first, that movie is beautiful. Oh, man. It's amazing. The lighting, the color, the set design, the cinematography, everything is beautiful. The hair, the costumes, the makeup. The costumes are top notch. All right, so I've gotten all the good stuff out of the way. The movie ran for an hour and 52 minutes, and honestly, I've seen a lot of the comments online, and everybody turned it off after the first 10 or 15 minutes and just couldn't get into it. That's fair. That is a fair thing to do because if it wasn't for the fact that I'm a YouTuber and I make videos about reviews or theories of these movies made by people that I like, with people that I like, for people that I like, I wouldn't have sat through that entire thing either. It was dull. It was very dull. Rob Zombie does not know how to comedy. I said it. Fight me in the comments. Rob Zombie really just doesn't know how to do comedy. I mean, he gets it. The situations are funny. He knows what's meant to be funny, but he doesn't exactly know how to pull off comedy. Now, speaking of not able to pull off comedy, I have never really had a bad thing to say about Shuri Moon Zombie. I loved her in all three of the House of a Thousand Corpses trilogy. I love her in Lords of Salem. I just love her in everything that she does until now. Um, Speaking of can't do comedy, Sheree Moon Zombie cannot do comedy. And maybe it's just that I'm used to seeing her in horror movies, but she should probably stick to that genre for a while because watching her try to do what the original Lily Munster did on the show was just, it was hard to watch. It got a little hard to watch. Fred was the name of the actor that played Herman Munster in the original series, but the actor that played Herman, I mean, disrespect to you or to Rob Zombie, but in a world where Brad Garrett exists, why is he not the one playing Herman Munster? I mean, all you need to do is give him a flat top and some green makeup. That bro looks exactly like him. I mean, exactly like he's got the voice, the personality, and based on all, what was it, 7 or 8 seasons of Everybody Loves Raymond, I know he knows how to comedy. The highlights of the movie as far as acting goes, Grandpa. Well, I mean, you can't really call him Grandpa Munster because there were no Eddie Munster or Marilyn Munster. It was just an origin story for how Fred and Lily, damn it, gotta quit, Herman Munster and Lily met. So Grandpa is only known as the Count, and that's fine. The actor, Mr. Roebuck, I can't remember his first name, but I know it's Roebuck because Roebuck is an awesome last name. But he really was amazing. He brought his A game, and I thought his performance was awesome. But once again, the dialogue, Rob Zombie, you could have easily hired a comedy writer. You could have easily hired other comedians to surround Mr. Roebuck as Grandpa Munster or the Count. But you didn't. That's fine. Your call. Igor, the Bat. Okay, that was awesome. I loved Igor the Bat from the original show. I thought it was great that Grandpa had a bat best friend. And then you get to this show, and it's the Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, the seventh Doctor from the original era of Doctor Who. Sylvester McCoy played Igor in human form before being turned into a bat at the end of the movie by Grandpa to go with him. That was awesome. I really also liked that they got Spot. They nailed it as far as hitting the prequel checklist for this movie. Even Herman and them moving from Transylvania to America and getting a job working at the morgue as a driver. It all pans out the way that it's supposed to. Obviously, they're normal or seen as normal by society while they're in Transylvania, and then they move to the States, and we're all like, ghost. And, we freak out and we run and feel completely alienated by these characters. I genuinely laughed twice in an hour and 52 minutes. And I say an hour and 52 minutes because I know that the Marvel generation is used to sticking around for Easter eggs, but I grew up in the 1980s and 90s when Easter eggs were a treasured gem you had to sit through the credits to wait for, not something you sat through the credits for because you knew it was coming. Like, most people don't even know that Skeletor rose out of the pit at the end of Masters of the Universe 1987 and said he'd be back, but he didn't come back, did he? Did he? No, because not enough people watched the Easter egg. So I sat through the whole movie expecting an Easter egg because there were quite a bit of credits, and then I fast forward, and there's the scene of the house in black and white, and I thought, okay, we're gonna get a cool little Easter egg, maybe like Adam's Family when it ended, and Morticia was knitting the little three-legged onesie for her baby that hadn't been born yet. We were gonna find out that maybe Lily was pregnant, or cousin Marilyn was coming to stay, or maybe something of that nature, but we didn't. It was just a shot of the house for about 3 minutes, and it zoomed in, and that's all you miss. I'm super duper a little upset that that didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to. Let's see. Sylvester McCoy was in it. Oh, speaking of origin stories and making this a prequel, they completely changed Herman's origin story because from the show we know that he, like Frankenstein's monster from the old Frankenstein movies, was created by Dr. Frankenstein. That's right, Dr. Frankenstein. I can't tell you how many times I remember Herman and Lily making a reference to having to call Dr. Frankenstein back in Transylvania, and they just created a whole new character for the fun of it for this movie, which once again is also fine, but you hired a serious actor to be a comedian. Again, you filled the entire movie with horror movie actors to do comedy. And now let's talk about Herman Munster. That was bad. Like he had some cringy, forced um, impersonations of Fred Gwynn as Herman Munster, and I feel like he was just doing his best to hit all of his marks, so you could say cut, print, kill the pig, and make the movie. And it was just very poorly handled. And like I said, the directing was beautiful. Everything looked amazing, even though at times, it felt like I was watching a less dark version of Sweeney Todd. And I mean, I love Sweeney Todd. That was a great movie. But it lost me in the feels. Um, I don't know. Uh, so let's talk about what I've got planned for this month. Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's all I've really got to say about the Munsters movie. I knew it was bad when they said they were having trouble finding a distributor. I knew it was bad when I saw that it was going straight to Netflix, and I knew it was going to be bad when I started seeing advertisements selling the Blu-ray on Facebook. I was like, yeah, this movie's going to bomb hard, hard. And I feel like just with a better screenwriter and more comedians, it could have been so much better. But it is what it is. Um, okay, so we're gonna do divisive and controversial horror movies, and like I said, this one was divisive. The Munsters is going to be dividing people because I've already gone through many groups, Rob Zombie groups on Facebook and Instagram, and everybody seems to either absolutely love the movie, not me, or absolutely hate the movie. This guy. And that's fair. I mean, but those of you that are uh, defending the movie, I don't want to sound mean or insulting, but you're hardcore fanboys. And I mean, I'm a hardcore fanboy, obviously. And you can't see the rest of the apartment, but there's memorabilia everywhere. But you go so hardcore into your fandoms that they can do no wrong. And there are also other fanboys that go so far into their fandom that everything new from the original is wrong. There's no middle ground, which is why you're here on my channel, because I'm the middle ground. Because, like I said, the movie had so much potential, it just had bad writing and bad acting. Shreem and Zombie. Um, but for those of you that blindly defend it, like just think for yourself. Sit back, look at the movie with fresh eyes, complete blank slate, and honestly say, is it funny or am I just laughing because I'm supposed to be? I know that this is where I'm expected to be laughing while I'm watching the movie. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. Now, for the rest of the month, we're going to be pulling out controversial and divisive horror movies. And when I say divisive or controversial, I'm talking about movies like Sleepaway Camp. We're going to do that one on Halloween night for sure. That's going to be the big one because I've got a lot to say to defend Sleepaway Camp. Because for those of you that know how that one ends, it can be divisive, it can be tricky, but it's also not meant to be offensive or um, insensitive. It's a really good story, and I'll explain why at the end of the month when we get there. Um, we'll also be talking about entries in franchises like Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th has a few divisive or controversial ones, but we're going to go with both controversial and divisive. Controversial being Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, where we get a copycat Jason killer and then set up Tommy Jarvis to be the killer for any future movies, and why that one was controversial and divisive. Um, Halloween 6, also a little divisive because it brings Jason back from being a person who's hard to kill to a straight up deadite slash zombie character, and like I said, we'll talk more about that then. Ooh, okay. Now, here, hated movies and franchises. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I am a big fan of this movie. I wasn't always. I used to be on the I hate it bandwagon, but I grew up and learned how to think for myself, and boom, it's actually a solid movie. And it's not nearly as offensive as most people think it is, and it's not homophobic the way that the actor Mark Patton felt while it was being made. And like, I think that maybe he misinterpreted his own feelings, his own insecurities as homophobia in the movie. I always saw the movie as a pro-gay movie, and that's fine. It's its own thing. But we're going to talk about that. I haven't picked a day to watch that one yet. We're probably also going to do Hocus Pocus, because while it's not a horror movie, the original is something I watch every October, and the sequel was not just as good as the original, but good enough that it doesn't take away from the original movie. It doesn't hurt the memory or whatever butthurt fanboys talk about. Uh, butthurt fanboys. There's another one. Scream 5. Now, I think it's hilarious that Scream 5 called out all of the butthurt fanboy crybabies online. That, oh my God, this movie's terrible. Nothing's been good since the original. I don't like any of these sequels. They are literally destroying my cherished and beloved childhood. And I mean, dude, the movie's still there. You can go watch your original movie that you love and cherish and put on a pedestal that walks on water or whatever have you. But it, the new movies that you don't like don't change anything. It's still there. You can still watch what you originally love and just shut up and let the rest of us watch our new movies. Um, so Scream 6 is, or 5 is absolutely coming into play, because I also have a theory about Scream 6. And I think that's all I got. I'm running a little hoarse here. I know you can hear it. Excuse me. But let's see. Tomorrow we are going to be doing probably Friday the 13th, part 5. You know what? Scratch that. We're going to do Friday the 13th, part 6 tomorrow, because I have a special cut of Friday the 13th, part 6 that nobody but me and my friend Ricky, because I loaned him my flash drive, have seen. Earlier this year, I bought the Friday the 13th Ultimate box set, which has all original 8 movies that are owned by Paramount, plus Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, and the Friday the 13th remake that was done by New Line, all in one big, awesome, super special feature loaded Blu-ray box set. And I went through every disc, every box set, every special feature, every commentary, every interview, everything. It took me months. But the director of part 6 was talking about how he filmed it to be like one of the classic Universal horror films from back in the day, like uh, Frankenstein, or The Creature from the Black Lagoon, or The Thing, or The Blob, all these old classic movies. And it should have been filmed in black and white, but they wouldn't let him film it in black or release it in black and white. So it looked as good as it could for a color movie. So I downloaded it, put it on my laptop, and I'm pointing over there, even though my laptop is literally what I'm streaming from, but it's fine. Uh, and rendered it black and white using my video editor, and put a copy on a flash drive and watched the first 5 minutes of it just to make sure everything worked. And it is beautiful. It's beautiful. The black and white is amazing, and I'm looking forward to watching it, because there are epic shots in that movie that look great in color that I imagine are going to be epic in black and white, like when Jason rolls that bus off the road and climbs out on top of it and is standing there with the smoke and the darkness and the lights and the silhouette. And it's a great scene, and I imagine the black and white's going to be very powerful, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, or I guess since it's after midnight, later today. So until then, be excellent to each other, and also go check out my Cobra Kai video. I made a video theory a few years ago before season 3 came out about how Tori was going to end up being Crease's granddaughter, and spoiler alert, season 5 confirmed it. And I say confirmed it because there is no actual spot in any episode before or after that contradicts the fact that they are grandfather and granddaughter. And the only way that it can be changed is if it's retconned, not never was true, but actually retconned next season. Fight me down in the comments. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. And I guess a happy pre Halloween. Ooh, happy October.